Good evening. We will now call our March 24th, 2015 regular workshop school board meeting to order. We extend a warm welcome to all of you this evening, and also we welcome our viewing audience as well. At this time, would you please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Kids at Hope Treasure Hunters Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As an adult and treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. I would like to remind our audience this evening that if you desire to be an unscheduled speaker, please pick your form up from in the back and turn it in to Chris, who's on the far left here. Ms. Harrison, please. And we will be happy to recognize you at the appropriate time. At this time, I would like to state our St. Lucie County Public School vision. St. Lucie County Schools, in partnership with parents and community, will become premier centers of knowledge that are organized around students and the work provided to them. Our name will be synonymous with the continuous improvement of student achievement and the success of each individual child. Our promise is to move from good to great, focusing on our core business, the creation of challenging, engaging, and satisfying work for every child every day. Madam Superintendent, we will now move right to our special order of business.
Yes, ma'am. Moving forward, I'd like to ask Dr. Helen Wild to come to the podium at this time, and we'll begin with the recognition of our Sunshine State Scholar for 2015.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Yost. I am honored tonight to recognize our district selection of our top 11th grade student in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM, for the Sunshine State Scholars Program. Beginning in 1997, this program has recognized top students, and the program now focuses on retaining intellectual talent in the state of Florida. Honorees from each district are invited to a stimulating two-day event, which includes meetings with representatives from Florida's colleges and universities. For consideration of this award, juniors must have a grade point average of 3.9 or higher, demonstrated interest in STEM-related studies, and be on track to qualify for Florida Academic Scholars Award, including meeting the community service hours requirement. I am honored to recognize our Sunshine State Scholar, Mr. Anthony Osorio. Anthony is a proud Cobra from Fort Pierce Central High School. He currently holds a 4.76 weighted GPA and takes rigorous courses, including advanced placement, and he is part of the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical Engineering Program. As part of that program, Anthony has participated in an internship at the St. Lucie County International Airport and has attended space camp at Embry-Riddle University. Anthony attended the two-day Sunshine State Scholar event with his parents. Please join me in recognizing Mr. Anthony Osorio. Anthony, come on up. And I've asked Anthony if he would share with us a little bit about his experience.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Smith for nominating me for this amazing opportunity. I would also like to thank each and every one of my teachers at Fort Pierce Central for giving me the best possible education that I believe I could receive in this area. Speaking on the convention itself, I can't say enough good things about it because, you know, being a student at a time like this, it's hard to really buckle down, stay down in the studies, always skipping some of the fun to do some of the hard work at times, and it's hard to see the end goal in sight, but at conventions like this, it shows that your efforts are recognized. They treated you amazingly, put you in the fancy hotels, treated you like basically a rock star. But it was more than that. It really gave me an opportunity to see what kind of opportunities were available for further education in Florida. I was opened up not only to colleges in Florida, but a lot of businesses that were centered in there and how they can also benefit my education. And as a junior, this whole college talk is pretty scary, and it's coming up real fast, and this convention really helped put things in perspective, and I'm very thankful for attending.
Thank you. Anthony, I would like to present this award on behalf of the St. Lucie Public School System in recognition as our Sunshine State Scholar for the 2014-15 school year. Congratulations. Mr. and Mrs. Osorio, if you could come on up, and Mr. Smith.
Our next special order of business will focus on the Presidential Scholar for 2014-15. And once again, Dr. Wild will present that.
Thank you. Each year, the Commission on Presidential Scholars invites districts to recognize outstanding students as part of the Presidential Scholars Program. From nominations from each of our schools, one high school senior is selected as our U.S. Presidential Scholar nominee. Selections are based on involvement and service to the community and school, leadership and character, and academic achievements while overcoming obstacles. Please welcome our program specialist for secondary guidance, April Mincy, who will introduce you to our U.S. Presidential Scholar, Fort Pierce Westwood Senior, Miss Shelby Durden. Mrs. Mincy? And she has not arrived yet, but I'm going to ask April to go ahead and tell us a little bit about her anyway.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Yost. I was so honored to tell you about our U.S. Presidential Scholar. Her name is Shelby Durden. As a young child of 18 months, Shelby was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. She has been through periods of remission and also painful periods requiring hospital homebound. Early on, Shelby decided that she would not let this stop her. She found selfless ways to connect with and help others with their own struggles. Shelby has dedicated over 200 hours, such as with the local Arthritis Foundation, Harbor Branch, and the Oxbow Center. She has taken mission trips, fed the hungry and the homeless, and repaired homes with the Boys and Girls Club. She is involved in many campus activities and now volunteers at the Hallstrom Planetarium, as well with the Sheriff Explorers. As a sophomore, Shelby started taking dual enrollment classes. She was invited by IRSC to join the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and she was selected for their honors college. She will be graduating with her associate's degree in biology on May 2nd. She plans on pursuing an eventual PhD in neurobiology. With all of these academic and extracurricular efforts, Shelby still maintains a weighted GPA of 5.45. Consequently, she is valedictorian of Fort Pierce Westwood High School. Shelby credits the ongoing support of her family for helping her to develop a positive outlook on life. Wherever the road takes her, this humble and respectful young woman will touch others with her warm attitude and love of life.
Thank you, Ms. Mincy. And Mrs. Yost has indicated that we will recognize Shelby when she arrives. She is actually at Indian River State College and on her way. Thank you.
Board members, it is time to move to our consent agenda. We have the agenda before us. I would entertain a motion at this time to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Ingersoll.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hawley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board members, are there any conflicts that you need to declare on any of the items that will be coming before us this evening? Okay, hearing none. Madam Superintendent, may we have your recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. And prior to the recommendation, I would like to ask Dr. Rendell to come forward for a brief moment. Item 7.01 is a little bit complicated this year since the legislature has us starting school at one specific time, and we are making a recommendation to approve multiple calendars this evening. So, Dr. Rendell?
Thank you. Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Yost. Before you, item 7.01, there are actually two calendars that we're asking you to approve tonight. One calendar has a student start date of August 17th. The other calendar has a student start date of August 24th. As you know, current state statute limits the date that we can start till 2 weeks before Labor Day, which is the August 24th date. That is calendar 2H, draft 2H. We also set a calendar, draft 2G. The state legislature is currently considering legislation that would allow us to start earlier in August. So we're hopeful that the legislature passes that legislation and we're allowed to start earlier, in which case we would use calendar draft 2G. So we're asking you to approve both pending state legislative action. At some point later this spring, though, we will have to make a decision. If the legislature does not act, we will have to stick with calendar 2H, draft 2H. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. And hearing that information, I recommend the board approve a total of 19 consent agenda items, beginning with 4.01 and ending with 14.01 as presented.
Board members, we have received the superintendent's recommendation. Are there any items you wish to comment on? Are there any items you wish to discuss and therefore pull out for separate vote? Hearing none, we have received the recommendations. May I hear a motion? So moved by Ms. Hensley and second by Mr. Ingersoll. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion now carries 5-0. Okay, we go right into our stipulated findings of fact, conclusions of law, and penalties, and the final orders number 501 through 522 as presented. Madam Superintendent, may we have your recommendation on these items?
Yes, ma'am. As you stated, I recommend the board approve stipulated findings of fact, conclusions of law and penalty, and final orders 501 through 522 as presented.
Fellow board members, we have our recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Hawley, second by Ms. Hilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries then 5-0. Madam Superintendent, it's time for your report.
Thank you. And I believe that Shelby Durden has arrived at this time. And so I would like to call Dr. Wild and Ms. Mincy back to the podium so that we can recognize her.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Yost. You all heard about Shelby Durden's wonderful accomplishments a few minutes earlier, and I just want to, in front of her family, recognize her once again and ask Shelby to please come up and receive your recognition. Shelby, this is being presented to you tonight in front of the school board and the superintendent on behalf of your outstanding accomplishments as our U.S. Presidential Scholar for 2014-15, and it says, for demonstrating exceptional academic achievement, supreme personal character, natural leadership, and continued selfless acts of service. Congratulations.
Thank you all so much and for making this possible.
Thank you, Shelby. And I'd like to ask her parents to come up and join us for a photo opportunity.
As well as Miss Baxter.
And her principal, Miss Yacola Baxter. Thank you.
As I continue with my superintendent's update, on the consent agenda, we appointed Mr. Joseph Lazo as the assistant principal at Fort Pierce Central High School, and he is in the audience this evening, so I'd like to ask him to stand at this time. Congratulations, Mr. Lazo. We have a couple of our high school principals in the audience as well, and if you've picked up a recent copy of Stewart Magazine, all of them are featured this month. So that features, correct, it is fabulous. Miss Popwell, Miss Hargadine, Miss Rodriguez, Mr. Santabria, Mr. I got to get my glasses on, make sure I don't miss anyone, Mrs. Baxter, as well as Mr. Smith. So congratulations to all of them for that feature photo. It's a wonderful insert, 2 pages, focusing on principals within the Treasure Coast. Also, wanted to point out that we have a partnership with the chimpanzees that is then making a difference in our classrooms. Infinity is enabling our students to interact with the chimps at a distance, and Infinity is the tool by which we are doing that. And so we're learning about the habitat and science specifics for our students, and that is not just at the secondary level. Even elementary students are participating in this work, so that's a really exciting project. Also, we finished up our Saturdays with a scientist at VGTI. They had 6 Saturdays where we brought elementary students in, and they had an opportunity to interact not only with teachers throughout the district, but also with scientists from VGTI. It was really exciting. I had an opportunity to join them Saturday before last and to watch the student recognition when they connect the background knowledge from their classwork with the experiments that are designed for them in the lab setting. The light bulbs go off, and there's so much enthusiasm and excitement. So we thank VGTI for providing that opportunity. Also took our outstanding beginning teachers of the year along with their mentors out to Adams Ranch last Friday, and Bud Adams was thrilled to have them present to provide some St. Lucie County history regarding Adams Ranch, and they enjoyed lunch. And so we have a new partnership that we are fostering at this time, and we hope that additional groups of educators will be able to visit the Adams Ranch and learn more about our Florida history. Also want to congratulate Dr. Mark Rendell in his appointment to the position of superintendent in Indian River County. So congratulations, Dr. Rendell. And on a personal note, we have 2 individuals on the dais that are grandmothers. So congratulations to Carol, the birth of Ethan on March 21st, and to Debbie, the birth of Lumen on March 13th. Congratulations, ladies. And in closing, I just want to remind you of our executive session immediately following the board meeting.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Attorney Harrell, do you have any comments or updates for us at this time? Okay, then we'll begin with Ms. Hilson as far as board member reports. Okay, no report. Ms. Hawley, please. Okay. Mr. Ingersoll.
No, ma'am.
Okay, and Ms. Hensley. And Dr. Mills, no report. So we're good. Well, this is the first. Okay, unscheduled speakers, seeing that there are none, we will end with a reminder of our public school mission. The mission statement of St. Lucie County Public Schools is to ensure that all students graduate from safe and caring schools equipped with the knowledge, skills, and desire to succeed. Our next board meeting will be held April the 14th, 2015. I want to remind the board that we have an executive session immediately after this regular workshop. Good night to all. We are adjourned.